Welcome to r/malicious compliance, where we share stories of people conforming to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. Today, we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin.
The first story.
My coworker nearly cuts off a finger. This story is not long, but I think it deserves to be told. Enjoy. I, 20 male, work in a wood shop where we build primarily doors. It's a good job, although my boss can be a little short-sighted at times. Our cast for this adventure is fairly small. Me, my boss, and Mike. Names changed, of course. Recently, we were cutting some of the material for a door on the table saw. So, like normal human beings around heavy machinery, we tried to avoid the saw blade. Well, my boss comes to help me cut the next piece, and asks for help. This is normal to help keep the pieces square. Mike begins to prepare to hold it. My boss yells from 8 feet away from the blade. Mike! No, you need to hold it there. Points at a spot directly in front of the blade, referencing a knot to put his hand on. Mike, you sure that is... Boss, I have been doing this for over 50 years. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. Me, but that puts him in... Boss, just do it, okay? Put your hand where I tell you and don't move it. So he does. He places his hand in line with the blade and they start cutting it. And he doesn't move his hand. 3 inches away, 2 inches away, 1 inch away. Bang! Lucky for Mike, we have a saw stop table saw that is designed to retract and not hurt you if your finger touches the blade. However, these are not cheap to replace. About $100 for the stopping mechanism and about as much for the blade, which is then ruined. As my boss saw the table saw retract, he calls out flabbergasted. Why didn't you move your hand? Mike, you told me not to. My boss then walked away defeated, and Mike and I had a good laugh as we started to replace everything.
The second story.
You want to be a menace about extra jalapenos? Coming right up. Story from my last job at a pizza gas station disaster. I was working in the kitchen by myself on this Christmas night, and people were very unhappy about the wait times. I had just gotten off the phone with someone who cussed me out for 5 minutes about not being able to cook him a pizza. I was already fuming. We had 40 minutes until close, and I had 2 orders and cleaning to do. A drunken toddler of a man stumbles in, and then proceeds to curse at me repeatedly. He orders me to make him a medium jalapeno pizza, with 4 times the normal amount of spicy, and stumbles to the restroom, telling me to be done with it in 10 minutes or he would be punching my lights out. I couldn't refuse walk-ins, BS policy, so I decided to make his pizza. But I did it my way. I used a total of 103 jalapenos, yes, I counted, on that poor pizza. I also drizzled some jalapeno juice, some hot sauce, and a used bit of buffalo sauce. Put it through the oven, double-checked to make sure everything was cooked through, and boxed it up. He stumbles out and asks if he would like to look at his pizza before he pays, to which he states he would rather eat it than look at it. He takes it to the front, pays, and walks outside. 3 minutes later, he's back, except he's sweating profusely and scrambling back towards our milk. He pays for a gallon and chugs about a quarter of it, and then runs outside in a dash. Ah, yes, another satisfied customer.
The third story.
Push me to keep drawing things for you? Be careful what you wish for. Context. I had just moved across the country to the west coast of the U.S. and started high school at a hybrid homeschool. Think a college-like schedule, but with stay-at-home parents and a nursery to accommodate the babies they brought. I had been in Montessori, charter, private Catholic, magnet, and just regular old public school, so I stood out like a sore thumb to my classmates, who had been homeschooled since, well, forever. The other girl in this story was one of those kids. Let's call her Betty. We had gotten along pretty well. We sat together in a few core classes, and both had an interest in creative writing. I was pretty decent at drawing at the time, and still doodle pretty regularly. This caught her attention, and pretty soon we had a relationship of her stashing away the loose-leaf drawings I didn't want, which was fine by me, as it was mutual, but as most artists can tell you, sometimes people get a little too comfortable with requests and start to get pushy. Now for the malicious compliance. Betty and I were both in the after-school theater program, and rehearsals took a long time, especially when you were a background character, waiting for your cue. So I had my sketchbook and began drawing some old OCs, a married couple, just interacting in general. Now Betty really loved these characters. She thought they were adorable. At this point, I think she had about 30 different pages of drawings of characters from this series. So when she asked me to draw some more, I didn't mind and made a quick sketch of them hugging. She tilts her head at it, like she's content with it, but expected more. She hands it back to me and asks if I can make more. I was already on another set of characters from the series, so I told her I would once I finished this other doodle. The moment I put the pen down, she asks if I'm done and if I can make her more. I just accepted it as enthusiasm for my work, but it irked me a little that she couldn't wait a bit longer. So I make her another drawing, and she makes the same request for more. After about 3 more drawings, I finally had it. You want these 2 characters interacting so bad, I'll give it to you. A little thing about Betty was that she came from a very religious background, and many of her classmates at the homeschool did too. Certain topics were just not discussed in the open with a blasé attitude. I, however, hung out with the furry fangirls while at public school, which meant lots and lots of hentai, yaoi, yuri, etc. exposure. That combined with very literal and rational parents, sex was just a typical run-of-the-mill occurrence. We eat, we drink, we sleep, and we F. And if you're married, you presumably F your partner. I think you can all see where this is going. With a smile, I take the paper back, fold the small corner so she and myself could hide it easily, and proceed to draw the wife getting D'd the F down. Lots of detail in the right places. Ah hey gal face, sweat drops, and all the sound effects around them. Took about a minute. I handed it back to her and went, "Here, I hope you like this one." Her look of excitement quickly fades, and she goes silent. I feel a little bad as I remember she's not used to explicit things like me. So I go back to drawing. We finish up rehearsals, go home, and that was it. The conclusion. The next day during class break, Betty comes up to me and sheepishly goes, "If you're not busy, would you be able to draw something for me, please?" I smiled and replied, "I'm not busy at all, and thank you for asking. What would you like?" Betty and I have been best friends for nearly 7 years. I hope you enjoyed these stories. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to know when the next videos come out.